most of the GOP conversation outside of Trump is demonizing trans people or talking about how they want to pile up migrant bodies at the border, but occasionally they talk about real policy. And Brett has often talked about there are things that the right and the left can agree on. So let's see if maybe these are examples of it. Vivek Ramaswamy decided to take a break from spreading conspiracy theories and said, this is back earlier this year, "You don't hear me talk about the war on drugs. I'm not a war on drugs person." He said he's probably the only person in the modern history of the Republican Party open to a conversation about providing off ramps for people to access certain hard drugs, from ayahuasca to ketamine. I think in the long run, and I'm talking about over a long run period of time, decriminalization serially is an important part of the long run solution here. That's got to be part of the solution. So Ramaswamy earlier this year was really setting himself aside from other Republican candidates, saying that he sees a potential role for decriminalization of what are considered hard drugs, Brett.
That is sure, but people are basically pretending that there are no negative consequences to legalizing all drugs, and that is just a lie. And they also do so without a real plan, because America hasn't really tried it, and everybody who's championing certain district attorneys, they haven't even tried it either. Have not tried a real criminal justice reform system that actually gives a damn about drug addiction. And everything that Vivek Ramaswamy is doing is the most distilled, concentrated lip service without taking it seriously you can do.
I will say the reason I wanted to point out this one about Ramaswamy though is, to me, it feels like amongst all of the Trump bootlicking and the pretending that he believes these conspiracy theories that he definitely doesn't to appeal to right wingers, I feel like this is something he actually believes. This to me feels like, yeah, he came out of college or whatever. He thinks that ayahuasca is gonna open up. He's like a tech bro that wants to go to the desert and come up with a new app idea because he's tripping balls. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, but you're putting together there's a lot of hard drugs we just shouldn't be just being yeah, go do them. And that's his thing. I mean, yeah, ayahuasca, you should also only ever do under close supervision of people who are taking care of you. Yes. Don't do it at a party with all your pals 100%. When you're 19.
And finally, I just want to give some credit. Christie has a national drug crisis plan that he rolled out, I believe, earlier this week, focused on treatment and stigma reduction that includes quite a lot of different components, making some of the telehealth policies that were created during the pandemic permanent, requiring all federally qualified health centers provide treatment, and creating mobile opioid treatment programs. He also called for expanding block grants to states tied to specific requirements for data collection and sharing. Some of that seems reasonable. It's a massive problem that occasionally gets discussed, but then is not a focus at all during presidential elections, and nothing gets done to fight the opioid crisis. The interesting thing though is that it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect his chances. None of this does. So little of this race, even when we go looking for their policies, does it actually have any effect seemingly on the polling? So that is frustrating, unfortunately. But we did want to give people a little bit of a look into what their platforms actually are. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.